Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today I'd like to explain how we install an AC disconnect, how we chose the wiring before we even have the AC, and maybe what tools you'll need. But this is a new construction, 800 square foot addition. We have a mini split going in here. And before all that, we had to rough in the electrical wire. I chose a 10-2, and I want to show you why we chose this size. It's all based on the nameplate and the manufacturer. Let me go show you. I have the benefit of having this big bad boy on one section of the house. The one we're getting is half that size, but this one, I can show you the nameplate. All right, this here is the nameplate of the model, manufacturer, and all that other stuff. Okay, the numbers you want to look out for is minimum circuit ampacity, 35 amps. Okay, 35 amps. That's the minimum circuit ampacity. Okay, so you got to pick a wire that's going to be able to handle consistently 35 amps. Okay, the max fuse. This is a different number, 50 amp. That's the biggest we can put for a breaker on here. So the wire you need doesn't need to handle this. It needs to be able to handle this. Okay. I got a hold of the AC guy and asked him, would 10 wire be enough? Basically, good for 25 amps or whatever. He said that'd be enough. Well, 10 wire is good for 30 amps. So he said that'd be enough. You have a smaller unit, only a 2-head unit, mini split. So that's why we installed that wire. But that's the nameplate. If you had something existing and you wanted to make sure the wiring was done correctly, you could do that. A lot of times the wiring is way oversized. It doesn't need to be that big. Only needs to be that big if it's going 100 feet across the house over to the AC. Then I would put a size maybe bigger than what's required so your lights don't blink. So we will be putting a mini split here, 2-head unit, right in this spot, right in between the windows. So I need to put that disconnect over as far as I can. Hopefully they don't block it. Then I had to move it. I ended up picking up a 60 amp disconnect from Home Depot. Even though I don't need a 60 amp, I only really need a 30. But believe it or not, this non-fused was cheaper than the fused 30 amp. I don't need fused because it's already fused at the breaker panel. Anyway, that was pretty reasonable. Home Depot, I think it was $17. So nice metal outdoor rated disconnect. And why would you want this disconnect? If there's an AC tech guy here and he's working on the disconnect, working on the AC, and we're not home, what if he needs to turn the power off to work on it? He can just pull this out and he knows it's safe to work on the AC. Okay, later we're going to put the whip in, which is from here to the AC, flexible whip. But today we need to put this in and wire it up. I want to be ready when the AC guy shows up. All right, to make this easier to work on, this cover will come off, because otherwise you have to keep holding it up and it's a pain in the neck. There's a certain way you can hold it at a certain angle. This cover pops off. Ugh, I'm gonna sneeze. And this bottom, the bottom comes off as well. Okay, and that exposes the inside, so you can work on it. But basically you have your ground bar. Okay, and then you have line and load. Your line wires will go on the outside in this box, and your load wires will go on the inside. So the line wire is that one there, going to the electrical panel. The load, of course, will be your air conditioner. So, but we do need to put this up somewhere. I can put it up like that, right there over the wire. But I do want to get a grommet, 1/2 inch or 3/4. All right, let's look at some of the tools you will need. I grabbed my whole little carry tool bag. But some of the tools you will need is a grommet. Doesn't seem to come with a grommet for putting the wire through here. Okay, you'll need some what we call P3s in the trade, some screws, a Phillip head with a blunted tip. That seems to work best with these P3s. I would also get a drill bit. That's a little bit smaller than the size of this. for pre-drilling, especially if you're putting it into hardy board like I am. It's a real big pain to get it into the hardy board. Okay, you'll need a flat screwdriver. You'll need a way to cut this wire to length. Okay, your Kleins, and a way to strip the ends off. Okay, you'll need at least those items. All right, to conceal the wire and protect the wire, what I want to do is come through the back here. I want to knock out this 1/2 inch, probably the 3/4 inch, because that's the grommet that I actually have. Couldn't find a 1/2 inch anymore. And I want to put the disconnect as far this way as possible, only because I want to save room here on the ground for my AC unit. If this happens to end up behind the AC unit, I will have to move this box out of there because it has to be accessible. Can't be behind the AC unit. How are you going to pull the plug out if it's behind the AC unit? So we need to knock this out. Another couple tools you might need. So I start with the 1/2 inch. Go ahead and knock that out. And you might need your beater screwdriver. That's what this is for. Okay, hole has been knocked out. We want to insert the grommet in the way that the wire is going to go in. It's going to go in from the back, okay? So we want it to go in but not be able to pull out, okay? I'm certainly not going to need all this wire, so we can cut some of this off right from the get-go. I do want to leave at least 1 foot though. Okay. Put the wire in through the grommet, slide it up to the wall. I know it's kind of half on and half off there, but it's okay. We're going to screw it in there. It's going to be fine. Did I mention you need a level? Okay, got my level. I want this because I want to mark where my holes are going to be for my screws. I'm going to put at least 3 screws, maybe 4. But this way I can just rotate. If I want to, I can just rotate this box out of the way. Okay, that's level there. That gives me a chance to drill some of these holes. Because working with hardy board is not easy. Easy for a drill, but not easy for a screw to go in. It's good stuff. It's like concrete, very hard. There we go. That gets that out of my way. Don't want to go too far here. I don't want to hit the wire. Okay. And then one more here. You could do a 1/2 inch on this wire. This is only a 10 wire. You could totally put a 1/2 inch in there. I use 3/4 because it's what I had available to me. I need to go shop for more. Okay. Let's get that top screw in. Not too tight. I still want to be able to level it one more time. Okay, super crooked. Level. Let's get the bottom one in. I don't want it super tight. I kind of like it hanging off the wall like that on the bottom. Yep. That's going to be fine. I like it. And it's level. It shouldn't move much anymore. And I got to get one more of those P3s. I only grabbed 3. And the last one. That's between the lines, as some people say. All right. A utility knife would also be good. So very carefully, and I mean very carefully, score the wire up here. Take the insulation off. All right, we only have 2 wires. Why is that? The ground's never included in these type of things, but the ground is going to be grounded. This is going to be used as a hot. It's going to be put on a 2-pole breaker, and this is going to be used as a hot. To do this correctly, this needs to be phased. We need to make sure that anybody that comes along, electrician or not, knows that this is being used as a hot wire, not a ground. So how do we do that? We usually put black phase tape on here, meaning we change the color from white to black. Okay, in lieu of my tape, I have a Sharpie. You can use a Sharpie. It's totally cool. As long as it's permanent, nobody's going to mistake this once I cut it off with a neutral wire. So that works too. So typically, I like to install my ground wire first. Put a little loop in here. Watch out for these holes, because I'm probably going to use these holes. I'm probably going to use this knockout to come out and go to my AC unit. Okay, cut this. Trim this just beyond that first screw. Take your screwdriver. Put the knife away. Put that nice and tight. I'm sure you all want to bust me for torque settings. Oh, you got to torque it. You got to torque it. Yes, that's the correct. But not every homeowner is going to go out and do their own and buy a torque screwdriver for this stuff. Okay, if they put it tight, it's going to be good. For those of you that do want a torque, okay, on the back of the protective cover, this is gonna go in there in the bottom. Okay, let's see if you can find it. Slotted screw type, that's what we're working with here. Wire size for 14 to 10. We have a 10 wire. Okay, this is suggesting 32 to 35, I believe. So I set my torque screwdriver to 34. It's about as high as this will go. And let's see if we can torque it properly. Can you see? Okay, there we go. That's 35. When it skips, feels like it's skipping like that, it's the right torque value. Okay, that one up here. Cut it a little bit longer. My tools. Okay, remember the outside one? These outside lugs are your line side coming from the electrical panel. That's what we're working on today. These are the ones coming from the electrical panel, okay? Strip off a little bit so make sure it's under the lug. Put it underneath, make sure it's under the lug. Yeah, sometimes the lugs do that. They fall off. Especially on these cheaper disconnects. Hold it up. Start tightening it down. This can be a pain. If you can see this little piece needs to go inside here on the bottom. Okay. If this piece falls out, which it often does, make sure when you slide this back into its spot that that little tab here is inside this lug, okay? Otherwise it simply won't stay. Let's see if we can get that in there. It fell out, and it's not an unusual thing. Okay, there we go. So that little tab is on the inside of that lug. and as you push it and play with it, it falls out sometimes. So I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. Non-torque screwdriver at the moment, because I just want it to stay there. Okay, now I want the correct torque value. If you listen, it'll tighten. See, can you see? It'll tighten until it clicks, and it won't let me tighten it any more than that torque value. Ready? You see that? It's like the screwdriver slipped. It didn't slip. That's the torque value you're looking for. Now this one, I want to do something like this. I want some extra wire. Okay, cut that. Strip it. Loosen this one a little bit. There. Sometimes it comes too tight. See? You just want to fall off. So you can't put it too loose because it just falls off. Okay, make sure that the wire's under there but not on the insulation, okay? On the insulation, it's not going to make good contact. This doesn't even look like it's sitting in there correctly. Yep, okay. And now we're going to torque it. Not twerk it, torque. There we go. 34 pounds. Right there. That is done. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you the line and load if you haven't seen it already. All right, this is picking it up pretty good. You see where it says line right there? See it? Line. That's coming from your electrical panel or coming in, power coming in, line. And over here, you can't see it on that one, but this one you probably can. It says load. Yep, it says load. That will be going to the AC once we get the AC in place. Now the cover, pretty straightforward. These tabs up top go underneath here. And it just kind of clicks in like that. This part goes in at like a 45-degree angle. Goes up, gets hooked, and then this can go in. And that'll stay there like that. Now I'm looking for the little disconnect piece. All right, so when this is in correctly, this one doesn't even tell you. How lame is that? Normally, it'll be printed on here, on and off. So when it's in this position like this, oh, that's sad, it doesn't even tell you. That should be off. Why? These blades are not even touching, they're not even touching these connectors to pass power through. When it's up like that, there's a slot up top, there's nothing there. Okay, so that's off. There's no power being passed to the future AC. If it's turned this way, whoop, it goes in much harder, and it makes that connection and passes power through. Okay, so for now, I want to leave it in the off position. Can't believe it that they don't put, who makes this? GE. GE, you need to put an on and off on here, okay? That should be code, or it should be some sort of standard. Normally they have off. If you can read it, it's in that position, and then the other side over here would be on. That's pretty lame. But anyway, we're ready for the AC. There's our disconnect.
A few days later, the AC guys showed up to install the mini split unit. The install included the making connection to the load side of the disconnect.
My friends, I also labeled this CB 5 and 7. What's that mean? Circuit breaker 5 and 7 is what's controlling this out here. If it wasn't marked inside properly, we could just go ahead to 5 and 7, shut it off, test it, make sure it's off. Very easy thing to do. If this was a commercial job, a lot of times they have multiple electrical panels. This might be marked. you know, PANL or panel abbreviated 3, and then 5 and 7. But we only have one panel here, so I don't need to put the panel number. As a novice, this might take 30 minutes or more to install. Somebody that does this for a living, probably less than 5 minutes, if that. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, becoming a member. We have memberships now if you want to show your appreciation. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. If you guys did use a Torx screwdriver, manufacturers suggest always put it back to 0 when you're done. Don't leave it with all that torque on there. Put it back to 0 if you want to make this thing last and be accurate. That comes from the manufacturer, okay? Take the time, take care of your tools, and you'll have them forever. As long as you don't let your friends borrow them and they steal them or lose them or break them. Have a nice one.